Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Excited to be here with my friends James and Christina today. Husband and wife team, just like I was gonna say my husband, but my wife and I are also a team, have been for the last 12 years. We're excited to talk about kind of how they've built their business and how they've kind of built departments. And as time goes by, a lot of us start as a one-man band or a husband and wife team, and we start to layer in new responsibilities and new departments. And it's very fitting for a growing business. So I think you're gonna get some great information out of today's show. Professional real estate investors know that it's not really about the real estate. In fact, real estate is just a vehicle to freedom. A group of over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors from across the country meet several times a year at the Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind to share ideas on how to strengthen each other's businesses, but also to come together as friends and build more fulfilling lives for all of those around us. On today's show, we're going to continue our conversation of fueling our businesses and fueling our lives. I'm glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hey Mike.
Hi Mike, great to be here.
Good to see you guys. So you guys are not very far away. You're just guys, you're probably like 10 miles away from me here. So some local friends. And excited to have our Investor Fuel. By the time this comes out, this will already have passed, but have our Investor Fuel meeting coming up here just next week. So looking forward to seeing you guys in person.
Same.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks, our Investor Fuel meeting is, about half of our members are coming in person, half are going to join virtually. Is just the new reality that we live in, right? But I think a lot of people that are coming in person are excited to get out of their cage and come see some friends. So.
Yeah, we certainly are excited. Investor Fuel's made a huge difference for us over the last, while that we've been part of your team and part of the big family.
Yep. Well, I'm excited to talk to you guys. You guys, I knew you guys before you had done any deals, and I've seen some amazing growth. And like me, you guys are corporate refugees. You left your jobs and put a lot of faith into the real estate investing industry. And we all know it's not like all like milk and honey, right? There's lots of ups and downs. For sure, and there always is, but there generally tends to be, if you focus on it, more ups than downs for sure. And I think a lot of us have some joy in the fact of knowing, like, I ain't ever going back to a real job. They wouldn't even want me now. I'm tainted, right? But for those that don't know you very well, maybe you could share your kind of backgrounds and how you got into real estate investing. Why don't you go ahead and start, Christina?
So indeed, James and I have been thinking about this for a while. We looked at different businesses and where we wanted to be and what we wanted to do, but we were certain that we wanted to leave corporate America and, start our own thing. Real estate was something we were both very passionate about. And so after a while of looking, we were fortunate, Mike, to meet you and Stinson and put together and, join your program. So we left corporate America at the end of 2017. We've been at this for about 2.5 years now. James was in the financial world and he can talk more about that. And I was in telecommunications and sales and marketing pretty much my whole career. So.
Yeah, I have the joy of you guys not only being members of Investor Fuel and good friends and members of Investor Machine as well, our agency, but started off as coaching students. Gosh, has that been about 2.5 years? Is that about right?
That's just about right.
Yeah. Time's flying. We all look much younger, but time is flying. So James, talk a little bit about your the way you guys are structured. I know when you first start, it's one of the things when you start a new business, real estate specifically, is it's not really a full-time job, but a lot of us have left our jobs. Like we're committed to working full-time times two, whatever we have to do, right? But a lot of times there's not a ton to do as you get started, and you guys are at the point now where you have several employees and you kind of have grown beyond that. So just kind of maybe if we talk about how you started, how you guys, decided to split up responsibilities.
Sure. So when we started, as you noted, there isn't a lot to do, on the customer facing side. Unfortunately, you're trying to get in front of people, you're trying to make deals. Because we were part of the coaching program that you had then, we were able to just treat that like a job and go through the defined curriculum that you had for the first month or so, and then it seemed like in no time at all, we're starting our marketing, dropping our first mailing, and Christina and I kind of laugh about it now. I spent most of my career in sales and sales management, and Christina spent most of her career in marketing. So we're definitely people that are used to making presentations, used to doing meetings, and the first few times the phone rang, we're both looking at each other like, well, who's going to get it? I mean, and we went from that and almost being afraid of what are they going to say? And I'm like, wait a minute, I've had thousands of interactions, and as has she, but we went from that point to the way we are now, and it was a process. But at that time, we did everything together. We went through the curriculum together, so that we were kind of in the same gear, at the same speed, at the same tempo. We went on all the appointments together. Pretty much everything that we did jointly. It was the James and Christina brand, and it still is that brand, but now it's very different in that these days Christina does primarily all of our acquisitions, and I do primarily all of our dispositions. And then that middle ground, all the other operational stuff that we do, we kind of split that up, just however it makes sense. But we layered in, through that time. I guess we've had four employees, and we've used VAs, and I think we can probably talk about that here in a minute. But
Sure.
As far as how we're set up, we strive every day to get even better at, okay, that's more Christina's organization, that's more James's organization within the broader organization, and treating it just like you would if you're working at a Fortune 500 company. And all right, what's my turf? What's your turf? How do we work together? And how do we have good corporate fences?
Yeah, I'd say, and from my experience, like Lindsay and I are partners, obviously. And, we for 12 years, even though things are relatively clear, sometimes we still bump heads like, well, I don't want to do that. Can you do that? Or like, I don't want to do that. You have to, right? But I think, especially when you're married, and even I've seen a lot of, non-spousal, I guess, kind of partnerships, people that are we're best friends, and they like eventually hate each other. Like that, at the end of the day, you guys got into this the same reason we did, was for, to have control over our kind of destiny, right? Financial future and all those things. And what you don't want it to do is tear your relationship apart. So I think it's really important. I mean, you guys figured out early on that we have to have kind of departments or responsibilities. And I'm sure that, you've gotten to the point to where, for the most part, you don't check each other. You don't like question what they do. You just don't have time for that, right? And so, and then as you kind of grow, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a minute, is you start to build kind of departments in your business. I mean, we're not Fortune 500 companies, but we still need to be structured in a way to where there's marketing, there's sales, there's operations for different processes, and all those things kind of happen no matter how small you are, right?
Yes, and I mean, in real estate, there's plenty to do, and if you can divvy it up right and not, duplicate efforts or run into each other, I think that's great. Also, as you figure out with your partner what you're going to do, then you evolve again and you grow some more, right? So this is a constant process. Just like in big corporations, you have to continue evolving. You can't say, well, I did that last year. Well, now the world is different a year later, right? So we are constantly doing that. We have a great foundation. I definitely recommend both spouses or non-spousal partners, right, need to have a really good foundation and trust between themselves in order to make that work.
And we've also got to be open, because to be completely candid, I would have assumed when we started this, before we had our first meeting, that I would be the acquisitions manager, because I was always kind of the hunter in my roles. I was either doing that or training that. And so I assumed, well, that'll naturally fall to me because I have the most experience in that, which at that moment I certainly had. But if we're open as to, who's best at what, who likes doing what, as it turns out, Christina's actually better at that than I am. Not from a training standpoint, because I've had a lot more training, but from a just an eye of the tiger standpoint and wanting it. I mean, she's world class. So you got to get out of your own way. I mean, I could have let my ego say, well, wait a minute, I'm the sales professional, blah, blah, blah. And it would have been at the, to our own detriment. So as you go through that evolution in your business, make sure that you're always being open and honest with yourself first, but then with one another, that, hey, you know what, honey, maybe you're better at this. Why don't we try having you take this on? And that actually, when we came to that realization, that was, one of those big leaps forward in our business.
That's great. And if you look at your background is, primarily more B2B, right? So that's really more on the disposition side is dealing with other businesses really when you're selling, right? I mean, not always if you're selling retail, but yeah, that's great. And the thing is like sales in this business is it's a little more
Relationship.
relationship based. Christina, obviously that she's your wife. She's very caring and really spends a lot of time with people, really wants to help people. And that's a skill that is not necessarily traditional sales, but it's something that goes well in this industry because you're just trying to solve people's problems and help them, get comfortable.
Absolutely, and
with right?
you can't really train to that. You're either wired that way or you're not.
Right.
And I could learn. Okay, I need to give a token of appreciation here, and kind of put that on my like daily punch list. But some people that's instinctive for, and as it is for her, as you noted. And so why swim upstream? You should go with that. Hey, that's naturally Christina. Let's do it.
And James is very humble. He's really good with acquisitions as well. It's just that I like it more, but he's amazing in dispositions, and I really don't like. Right? They're both sales, but it's a completely different thing. And that was a revelation for both of us. That even though it's sales, and by the way, it's the same house. One bought it, one sold it. We love that. He's tremendous at that.
Yeah, that's good. So as you kind of evolve here, then you start to layer in staff. So it's pretty typical that somebody would layer in an admin or a support person of some sort, secretarial type role, and then acquisitions, and then there's also all the administrative stuff, right? So I know you guys you've largely counted on virtual assistants help with a lot of the administrative stuff, right?
Yes, and maybe I can take that. It was early in our business, so just to give you an idea, we dropped our first mailed piece February of 2018, right? And somewhere around June, we realized that we really needed to have some help if we're going to continue to grow, right? That we could keep consuming things ourselves, absolutely, but we needed to just take that next level leap. And we were both uncomfortable, but we actually decided to bring 2 VAs on early in our business. And that has made a huge difference, whether it be social media or data processing. We can talk about more details if you're interested. But doing that early and bringing on very capable people who are dedicated to the team has been tremendous. And these same VAs have been with us for over 2 years now and are definitely part of the team and the success that we've seen. We love that.
Talk about some of your success in that area, like what you attribute it to, because I know we talked a little bit up front, and I've been using virtual assistants for, I don't even know, 10 years or so. Like Anna has been on my team for 7 or 8 years, and she's amazing, right? And now on the investment machine side, we actually have about 25 virtual assistants, and that will probably triple over the next year, so we rely on them for different things. And truth is, it's easy to say virtual assistant and attribute it to an overseas person, but most of my team is virtual at this point. A lot of us are working virtual these days. So it's really just a virtual, person. But with VAs specifically, overseas VAs, I think a lot of people make the mistake of bringing somebody on, not really training them that well, saying, I need you to do this and I need you to do that. I need you to be a marketing person. I need you to help analyze stuff. I need you to answer my calls, like do all this stuff, and like as somehow they're superhuman, and they're not. It's not any different than an entry-level administrative person you'd hire here. Like they have a skill set. And so maybe talk about, like, if you've had somebody for a couple of years, I know you have helped train them, and I know you've had to figure out what they're good at and what they're not good at, and not try to force them to do things that they're not good at, right?
Thanks. Yeah, that's been a huge thing for us. First of all, I think it's really important that you're clear as a team on what you need, right? And Gary Harper says it great. Don't do things you're not good at, and don't do things you don't like to do, right? So we kind of sat down early on and said, what things are going to propel us to that next level? So one of the things we were needing help with was all our social media, which was nowhere because we were a new company, right? So we wanted to grow that in a big way. And the second part was all our data administration, lists, return mail, all those things that everybody knows here. So we had to put some really good job descriptions. We talked about all that together, and then go to various organizations and interview. And we really hire for 3 things, right? We hire first for attitude, Secondly, for ability to be part of a team and work well in a team. And third, for the background and the knowledge, right? If you've got those first two things, great things happen. But the job description was important, but not just writing it, but actually separating the tasks. Because you can never take a creative person who likes to do Facebook, right, and have them do data entry. In fact, in the team, we joke about that they would each shoot themselves if they had to do each other's job, right? So we laugh about that sometimes. But we have a super creative person who does all our social media and a few admin tasks when she has time. Social media, any brochures, any creatives. She actually did our postcards for Investor Machine recently, right? So that's a pretty cool thing. We've had good response on that. So she's phenomenal, and she continues to grow as well as a professional. We've given her the tools and the abilities to say, go learn about Google Ads, go learn about this, right? Whatever other things we're looking to do. And we empower these people to actually be the experts. You know, I used to have a boss in corporate America who was amazing, smarter than anyone I know, but she wanted to know and everything 100%. But with us, our employees, and that's how we managed our teams as well in corporate America, we had the experts and we would go to them. So when I go to my social media person, she knows more than we do, and we like it that way, right?
Yep.
Our second person was all about, she was is very analytical, data gathering. She knows our text messaging campaign. She does MailChimp. I mean, she's phenomenal, right? Two different sets of skills. We brought them on board, didn't start there. We didn't even know half those things, but we've grown together. And they are a huge part of our success. We tell them all the time, we really believe.
Yeah, that's
They are
great.
the basis of our business.
And what are some other components of your team that you've added in? I know you're doing some text message marketing, some other things now. You've kind of started to layer in almost really like departments and other people you can bring on to help run those things, right?
Yeah, so the next addition to our team, we actually hired somebody to run our texting campaign. And we were starting from scratch because we were kind of new to, we hadn't been utilizing texting in any institutionalized way in our business at that point. So we were bringing on a new person, we were bringing on a new platform, and we didn't get the immediate results that we were looking for. But going back to, Christina's, the criteria we have that she mentioned, the attitude was there, and, the willingness to learn. And so we started working a little more closely with him to say, all right, is it, our VA that's not getting it done, or is it us? Are we not providing the right things? And so once we kind of got that leveled out, I started working directly with him on more of a sales training component, to where it was sales management 101, where we're meeting weekly, we're going over metrics. I've got him, sending me a quick summary every night of just the metrics. And, we could capture those another way, but I want the interactivity of him having to do that, send that to me. I can comment on it. And by taking that approach of making sure that first, we need to know do we suck, or does our employees suck if there's a problem? It wasn't us.
Yeah.
And, it kind of was us originally. We weren't really giving him, we didn't even fully understand everything that he needed to know. He's really partnered with us. He's now helped us understand that platform, shorten the learning curve there, and made that so we can now, plug in additional people to do exactly that. And with that piece of our business, we now have it to where somebody's doing the texting for us. They're setting appointments. They're doing all the follow-ups on that. They're setting up the drip campaigns, doing all the things that go along with that. And the net push through is now we're just able to do the appointments. They typically start as phone appointments. We don't have him, doing valuation and is something a deal? Is it not a deal? If you're new to that, you want to make sure that you make people go out of your way to say, look, do not overqualify. We'll get to that point where, as you get better and better at what you're doing, then we might start having you ask a few more qualifying questions. But a natural thing for any salesperson is to try to, overqualify so that they're only pushing through, what's, a solid, lock, and that's difficult. So He's been really beneficial and is productive now with that. So that became kind of the sales piece. The VAs that Christina was talking about both happen to be in the Philippines. They're amazing, all the things that they do. One of them has a lot of experience in the with like the MLS system. And so as you know, Mike, I have a real estate license that, I use pretty much just to disposition our properties. I used to hate, setting up listings. It takes a very long time to go through and do all the due diligence, plug in all the data. Now she does that. I just go in, edit it, chop up the description, validate a couple things. What used to take me a couple of hours now takes me 20 minutes. So we've been really blessed on the operational front with them. What we found for our customer facing people, so like the gentleman that runs our texting campaign and any cold calling that we do, we've had a lot better success with expats in Central and South America that, their English is such that they do a little bit better in the customer facing roles. They tend to understand the nuance of, what's a cul-de-sac, what's, just simple things like that. That's been a big boost for us as well, because if we take people and just say, all right, what are we trying to hand off? Can we package this in a way that they know exactly what we expect and how to do that? And then set them up for success. That's really fueled us and helped us, continue to add, different organizations within our business and kind of grow overall.
I think the longevity of the success with our VAs has been, I think, multiple things, right? One is, first of all, making them part of the organization, making them the experts, and make them feel that way because we feel that way, right? The second part is looking at incentives. So we are looking to invest in someone a lot, but then we want them to stay longer, right? So that just like in corporate America, right, you'll get bonuses, more vacation, right? We're doing exactly those things as well. After the first 6 months, these things happen, right? And we pay for some holidays. Then after a year, you get a week's vacation, and it continues on like that. This year, we added paying for insurance, health insurance. And can I tell you, that was a crazy thing, because as soon as we added that for one of our VAs, one of her children got sick. So, I mean, it's a phenomenal thing how that works. But we also do other things to actually shore up our core values, right? So one of the ways that we care as a business is to be able to give back. So we actually have $500 that each VA takes back into her country or his country and runs a project. So they did a phenomenal job the last 2 years benefiting the community with funds that came from JCA Freedom.
That's
right?
cool. So that's something they can use and go apply from a charity perspective into their community.
Our creative one created pillowcases with Bible verses, had a party for people, brought some food, canned foods and things like that to an orphanage, right, of young boys. Our other one, our other VA, who's an amazing person in our data world, she actually bought school supplies and uniforms and things like that. That was what just happened last year. So we have things like that that really jazz up everyone. We're so proud of them for doing that. And we're looking forward to having the gentleman who joined us this year as well run that in his own country. So.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So as you guys have made some great progress here over the past 2.5 years. And I think, once you get to a certain point, you kind of realize like there's always an opportunity for improvement. There always will be, right? But you kind of see the vision of what can become, right? Especially when you start to layer in other people and you're like, okay, the only way you can grow is with other people. Otherwise, you definitely have a job. I know you guys are still working harder than you want to, but there's a point where when you have the mindset that you guys do of building a team around you, that you can see the vision for how you can get better and grow and make it easier for you at the same time. Because honestly, growth enables that, right? It gives you the resources to be able to employ other people and hire people and do things, right?
That's right.
Yeah. For sure.
So James, any kind of takeaways or kind of like lessons learned that you could share with people, like a couple, 2.5 years into the business, your businesses are doing well. You guys are doing a fairly consistent level of deals. any kind of guidance you could give people in terms of getting out of their own way and adding some kind of people on the team?
Yeah, I think that my two key takeaways there would be to kind of be super open and introspective with yourself, to say, what should I hand off? What would benefit us the most? And just kind of, check your ego, right? Like what's going to be best for the organization. Because as opposed to a Fortune 500 job, if I'm helping grow the company here, now I actually benefit from growing the company, whereas before, making the decision that was better for the company and not as good for myself, definitely helped the company, but probably hurt me. And so have that realization that what's good for the organization, actually, at the end of the day, you are the organization. And the second piece of that is to have the courage to hand off and then hand off, like be there and be available, kind of check in and kind of peer over the shoulder once in a while, let people know that you're there. But when you hand off, let people own that, and hold them accountable for owning that. But if you're handing off, but then you're trying to babysit the whole time, it's net it would have been faster to do it yourself. And so if you follow those two things, I think that's the right environment to have people, to set people up for success, to benefit you.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think a couple of other things that we see: staying true to your core values, because then that defines everything, not only the people that work with you, how you interact with customers, other investors, right? Staying very true to that. For us, integrity, compassion, and trust are three things that are even on our logo. And I think the second thing to our success is being able to continue evolving, back to, making sure that we understand how we grow. And Mike, the goals that you've helped us set as part of Investor Fuel, right, and the 90-day goals and so on that we do, we look at those and continue to say, hey, you know what, we hit the mark here, yay, right? Or, oh crap, we haven't done this yet and we need to. So the accountability piece is a huge part of that as well. Yeah.
So, well, speaking of Investor Fuel, you guys have been members from pretty much from the beginning, I think. So we're actually coming up here on our three-year anniversary this fall. But would you mind just kind of sharing how Investor Fuel has kind of impacted you, your business, or personally, or anything you want to share?
Yeah, so we constantly talk about how that's kind of the highlight of our quarter. We really, because of the forced accountability that comes out of that, we're always looking at, okay, well, when's the next Investor Fuel? And we're kind of gearing things toward that. We plan our year around it to make sure that we're going to be available. And it's a highlight. There are four highlights of our year, not only from the amazing, people that you have come to participate and the learnings that occur, but I'd say equally important are the relationships that we establish with like-minded people. The more we grow in this business, the more we realize that there aren't as many investors, like real investors out there as you would think. As you get from looking at TV and thinking, you get the idea that there's a million investors out there, but there's very few. We're kind of the 5%, and you get to be around the other 5% there. And the more you grow, the less you can talk to other people about your business. We have people that we're close to, that we're related to, that when they ask about our business, we just give them a couple high-level bullet points, because it's like they wouldn't understand anyway. So it really is a tribe. We get to be around people that get us, and we benefit one another. In addition, because it's a national event, we're dealing with people that are in different markets, and so sometimes there's some colloquial knowledge that comes out of that. That's great, but I think people are even more willing to share, because they're not concerned about, well, if I help her, then that's going to hurt my business because she's my competitor. There really is kind of a giving nature there, and I don't know if it's kind of self-policing or just what, but we've noticed over that period of time that people that come to an Investor Fuel event that aren't really givers, they're more takers, they don't come back. Everyone there are givers, and we've developed some deep friendships with people that we never would have met otherwise. So we're as you hear from us all the time, Mike, we're huge believers in Investor Fuel. absolutely love it and look forward to it. But what would you add to that, Christina?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing business with other people at Investor Fuel because of these relationships, right? The accountability that we talked about has been tremendous. Also, ask a friend, right? On Facebook, we're constantly asking each other questions. Hey, what did you do about this? Or can you believe this happened, right? But also celebrating each other's successes. And a lot of people are very real and sometimes vulnerable because we all go through ups and downs, like you said. And, that's where everybody jumps in to help each other and to kind of say, hey, you're not alone. This is happening. And then, kind of boost everybody up. I don't know how you've built this culture, Mike, but it is unlike anything else we've seen. Again, in our previous corporate lives or here as well, givers, people who want to be there, right? Even people traveling with coronavirus, right? I'm willing to be in a room with 40, whatever other people in the room this coming month. We're not risking our lives, but just saying, right? But because this is so tremendous and of value to us. And if you're, and last quarter where you had to do that online event because of all the coronavirus things going on, that was tremendous as well. So it is really the culture you've built that has benefited us.
Awesome. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, I think we kind of laid the framework for it, for being givers. And I think, at the end of the day, when you go somewhere and you're giving a lot, there's this law of reciprocity, right? Of like, wow, I need to give more. I mean, it's pretty common for members to come their first time and have a presentation ready. And they felt like, not that we said it to them or not that we even knew, but they're like, I didn't realize I've gotten so much. I feel like I need to give more. And I think it's this kind of flywheel of giving and receiving that just works, right? So we're glad you guys are a part of it. So hey, thanks for joining us on the show today. If folks wanted to reach out to you guys, you're here in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. How can they get a hold of you, or what can you do to connect with people?
So we're super interested in locally doing JVs. We're interested in lending money, and so anybody can reach out to us. What's best, probably via our website or? Yeah,
our website is Freedom Homes with an S, Texas spelled out, freedomhomestexas.com. Certainly on Facebook, you can find us at James at JCA Freedom or Christina at JCA Freedom, and then we can connect. There's always phone numbers on there as well. But looking forward to that. We're continuing to lend to other Investor Fuel members, and we love that. It's a revolving door. Funds come in, funds go out. And so I think that's tremendous. Awesome.
Well, thanks again for sharing your story with us today.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us, Mike.
Yeah. And everybody, hope you got some good value out of this. No matter where you are in your business, if you're kind of early on or more advanced, I mean, I think you probably know enough at this point to know that it's all about finding the right people, getting out of our own way, which is hard for us because a lot of us had to start small and scrappy. And so sometimes it's hard to kind of scale and have those expenses, but a lot of those expenses really are investments really in you, honestly, and buying your time back ultimately. So hope you guys got some good value today. If you haven't yet, if you have not yet, check us out at Investor Fuel. We have an amazing mastermind, an amazing family of members that give and share with one another. You can go to investorfuel.com to learn a little bit more, maybe schedule a call with us and we can talk about it. Hope you got some value from the show. If you haven't yet subscribed to the show, you could subscribe wherever you're watching right now, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Of course, you can access all of our shows at investorfuel.com. See you on the next episode. Are you an active real estate investor? If so, and you want to latch on to the power of surrounding yourself with over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors, all committed to building stronger businesses and living richer, fuller lives, you should jump on a call with us to learn more about Investor Fuel. Simply visit investorfuel.com to get started.